My first guest tonight's an Emmy award-winning actor who's appeared in numerous films, including Secretary and Sex Lies and Videotape. He's now starring in the ABC series Boston Legal. Please welcome James Spader. Good, very nice. Pinstripes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, you were talking... You were talking about Bubbles the chimp.
Bubbles the chimp, yes.
Earlier.
Yes,
when are people going to get it about chimps?
What are you talking about?
Well, you know, just in California, there was that couple that went to visit their chimp. And, I mean, it was a tragedy. The chimp attacked them.
Yes.
Or one of the other chimps attacked them, the
yes.
guy, and, you know, I mean, ripped the man to shreds.
Yeah, chimps are soulless bastards. They,
yeah, they're not tough,
I'm not even kidding. Once or twice in comedy sketches, I've had to work with chimps, and they just, like, hit you a lot.
You know, all they
push you around.
At a very early age, all they really want to do is masturbate and throw their feces at you. They are not pets.
I can't throw stones at that, really, but I guess.
Neither can I.
No, but
Neither
anyway.
can I.
High school was weird. It was a tough time for everybody. But no, chimps, I don't love the chimp. And we're going to get letters now, but I'm sorry. They're just, they're violent, they're abusive, they push you around, and then they like, grab a cigarette, and they're like, and they smoke, and I don't like anything about them.
Yeah, and they plan, you know, with each other about what they're going to do next.
Well, now you're getting paranoid. They're not... You really think chimps are together like, psst, psst, here comes Spader, come on.
The story in L.A. was really frightening.
Yeah,
I mean, three chimps coming out. This couple had come to have a birthday cake with their old pet chimp, who also obviously had become unruly.
Okay.
Like Michael Jackson's.
The minute you're bringing a birthday cake to your chimp...
I know.
I mean, stop the story there.
I know.
I can't believe it. They were just bringing a birthday cake to a chimp who was so violent he had been put in a home, and the chimp went crazy.
No, the amazing thing was that three other chimps were jealous, and they attacked the couple.
Yeah, well, of course. I get jealous when someone else is having a birthday and a cake. I don't blame the chimp.
Really, chimps. Ugh.
But let's move on. I mean, I loved that, but I desperately want to ask you something. Of course, your co-star on the show Boston Legal
You have the most fantastic hair. Does he not have the greatest hair? Really. I know you take advantage of it a lot. You use it a lot for your thing. But I must tell you, I was watching backstage, and your hair is really, it's what I always... I mean, you can do anything with it.
Yeah, it is... It's crazy.
Yeah,
what my
you
hair
can do
can
like 50s, like cool stuff, or, you know, I mean, you can do anything.
I make sometimes big waves, and I put little plastic surfers on it.
Yeah.
There's nothing... yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. But about you... So far, we've talked about violent chimp attacks and my hair.
I've successfully avoided the...
You've avoided the...
Every subject came up in the pre-interview, I've avoided it.
But I want to ask you about this because I'm fascinated with your co-star. I find you fascinating, but William Shatner, your co-star on Boston Legal, you have to admit, he is... There's nobody... I've interviewed the man countless times. There's nobody quite like William Shatner. He defies explanation, and yet I understand that recently you shot a scene with him.
A bedroom scene.
A bedroom scene where you and Shatner are in bed together. Tell us about that.
We slept together.
You slept together. You're in bed. Set the scene.
We slept together. You're going to have to wait and see it next season.
Right.
But we've shot it already. Very graphic, explicit, loving. Though
scene with you and William Shatner, yes,
spooning, wrapped around each other in bed, and you know, there's something. He actually said this to me. There's something that he, you know, after we finished the scene, he sort of was dealing with me in a very different way than he had before, and I sort of felt maybe, and he spoke in a different tone, a sort of closer tone.
Right.
And pillow talk.
Right.
Anyway, and he mentioned that how interesting it was that. You know, it's rare, except with the person that you're having sex with or a parent or something, you're never really that close to someone or that intimate where you're that close where you really get to know where you smell their smells and really, I mean, not like, you know what I mean, those sort of...
Don't go by my facial expression. I'm with you on this. I'm trying to help you.
I can tell.
So you're saying that, well, I mean, yeah, it's not common in society. We shake hands,
but
people
is
don't...
it's not here. The point is that it's
okay, well,
you know... Well, and it's not something, by the way, that you get just from that. You don't get it just from a hug.
Right.
We're doing a scene where we're...
Right.
Right in there.
Well,
For a while, too. You guys are going to love it when you see it. Anyway.
How did Bill Shatner...
How
did Shatner smell? How did he smell?
You can tell a lot about a person by that first impression, that first smell. He had a very sort of, strangely, very attractive, sort of pungent, sort of gamey. Very sort of gamey. Yeah, it was a sort of gamey, sort of like venison or like a lamb sausage.
A lamb sausage.
Like you know those sausages, like the gourmet sausages, like a lamb sausage.
I have to say, now I'm getting it.
A little bit of rosemary or something.
Yes. I've had...
With a touch of ranch dressing. There was a little bit of a ranch dressing smell, which I think had more to do with what was on the craft service table. I think he'd been having a lot of the craft service that day.
That's interesting, because whenever I smell like a lamb sausagey smell, it's
Shatner.
Shatner shows up shortly afterwards.
Right. Anyway,
how did I smell just there? What did you get when you smelled me?
The sweet smell of success.
I want to ask you about your childhood and growing up, because I'm worried about you. No, your childhood, I'm guessing, I've heard that your family was very sort of, I don't want to use the wrong word, but maybe bohemian or relaxed about their bodies. Is that fair to say?
Yes, they were, certainly. I mean, they weren't bohemian at all. I mean, my parents were not of the... I grew up in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
And my parents were both teachers. They were much older, though. My father, if he were still alive, would be in his 90s now. My mother is 83. You know, so they were older during the 60s and 70s, but they were both teachers. They had... And they were both... it was an open household. Open door in the bathrooms, a lot of nudity, people walking around. You know, my mother today, when I'm going to go visit her next week, and... You know, if I ring the doorbell at the wrong time of day, she'll be out hitching her bra, coming out. What? Who's there?
Right.
Hello? I mean, there's a lot of everything sort of falling out, and
people would just because that's the exact polar opposite from my family, where everybody's constantly wrapped up.
Yeah,
the human body is something that's disgusting and should be hidden.
Right. No.
That's what I grew up with.
Right.
Hide your body, hide your shame. That's what I grew up with.
Take it off. Let's get through this right now. Take it right off.
No, that's not going to happen. No.
Like he's going to take his clothes off for you. He's not going to
exactly.
He's going to take his clothes off for you.
I know. It's the whole place will smell like sausage then. You don't want that.
There was a lot. I grew up with two older sisters.
Yeah.
And my mother. You know, so it was my, you know, women, and then my father and I. My father was fishing a lot, and in the cellar a lot as well. But he.
Okay,
he was trying to get away from us. I think.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, but you know, there were a lot of girls running around all the time, and so a lot of, you know, and then my sisters have friends,
right?
And they all come over, and we lived in a very, very rustic setting in Massachusetts where there was the walls, they were sheds. It was really a series of sheds that we lived in that had been converted into
sheds. You lived in sheds?
Yes, during the summer.
Are you a hillbilly? What?
Yes, deep in the hills of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But there were these. It was a summer.
There are these hill folk that live in Massachusetts in the hills.
There were these. It was like the summer cottage, and they were built out of old sheds, farm sheds that had been converted into housing, sort of. You know,
it's like, very pastoral, and there's some nudity and walking the fields nude,
and going skinny dipping and all the rest of it. It was, you know.
That's nice. I think that's healthy. I think that's why you're relaxed and why probably, you know, you're uninhibited as an actor. I think that's probably true. You know, that's why my body shame is why I hide under a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair to hide my body. I was just talking to, you know, one of the producer on the show, Frank, backstage. Yeah. He was saying he'd gone with his father, who lives in Florida. He'd gone to see that film, Postman Always Rings Twice. There's a very explicit, great sex scene on top of a kitchen table with flour flying everywhere and the dishes being cleared and Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange all over the place. Famous sex scene.
Fantastic sex scene. And, you know, he said he and his father went to, they're sitting next to each other, and at a certain point, when the flour was really flying, Frank couldn't take it any longer, and he said, I gotta go to the bathroom. and he went up, and he wanted to watch the scene, so he went up and he went to another part of the theater.
Right.
And sat in the other part of the theater.
But I can relate to that because
Not for me. For me...
See, that's crazy, but I know what it's like because I don't want to see nudity around my parents. I've been in a room where, like, a racy commercial comes on. I can't handle it.
Really?
You know? They're like, bring it on! Woo!
Well, it's so funny.
I gotta go. I mean,
so your parents are fine. It's you that really is uptight. So they're fine with it.
They're weirdos. They're naked all the time.
I should get together with them.
Yeah. My father goes to work naked. He's a bank teller. I don't even know what I'm doing. I am looking forward to the next season of Boston Legal because it's a great show, and I'm looking forward to that scene with you and Bill Shatner. That's going to be some kinky craziness. Boston Legal returns this fall on ABC. James Spader, you're always a lot of fun to talk to. Thanks for making time for us. Really nice to have you on the show.
That's great.
Quentin Tarantino's coming up, so we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Stick around.